So you have your customer. So you have your identity card of theirs, and you have their situation, their compelling situation, the situation in which they're ready for you, right? They're an early evangelist. They're already secured, they have some bananas, they're not happy. It's a great situation to be in. Now, we're going to dive one step further. And to do that, I'm going to introduce you to a very smart tool created by Alex Osterwalder and Yves Pinier as well. That tool is called the Value Proposition Canvas. And the Value Proposition Canvas is a very interesting tool because it's divided into two worlds, the world of our customer and the world of ours. We're going to tackle first the customer and then look at our side in terms of what value we're going to create for them. So the Value Proposition Canvas is a very smart tool that has two sides to it, and it's derived out of the business model canvas, because if you remember, at the heart of every business model, there's a value proposition that meets a customer job. It's derived from the very essential idea that the core, the heart of any business model has to do with the fit between what we offer, meaning our value, and what the customer job to be done, problem, pain is. So the Value Proposition Canvas allows us to explore and observe customers' world by understanding what jobs do they have to do, like we learned in the value proposition of the milkshake. We have to understand what pains do they experience that prevent them from succeeding in getting those jobs done. And then we have to understand what their dreams are, what their gains are, what do they succeed with and consider as success. So the important part from a mindset perspective, looking at a customer profile, is understanding that we're merely observers. And we're not here to change this circle. And the other part of it is that we're going to have total control of the products and services and the way they relieve those pains and the way they're going to fulfill some of those dreams. That fit that we're talking about is the problem-solution fit of our design. All right? So let's start with our design with an illustration from an example we already are familiar with. So if you remember, the customer profile starts by asking the question, what are the jobs to be done of our customer? What are the most important jobs? What do they need to get done that's important to them? What are the critical pains that are involved with this? What are the most desired gains? And the customer profile has all of those three. Customer jobs are first. So with customer jobs, it's really what problems is your customer trying to solve? What problems does Patrick have, and what is he trying to solve there? Which emotional needs they need to fulfill, all right? Like the one that we had with the milkshake case, like they need to create interest for themselves as they drive along a commute. And which social tasks must they accomplish? We'll get to the definition of social, emotional, and functional in just a second. But a tip for you while you're thinking about jobs, jobs are best worded starting with a verb. So, yeah, that's right. Defined, to operate, to execute, to search, to select, and so forth. Very good. So now we're going to talk about three types of jobs. The first type is functional jobs. So getting to work, fixing the machine, helping the patient, getting more money, getting paid for something. These are all functional technical jobs, right? And there are a lot of functional technical jobs. The other kind of jobs is the social jobs. So social jobs have everything to do with how do we look at ourselves in comparison with others, with other people, with the environment. So social jobs could be being trendy, for instance. It could be perceived as wealthy. And it could be known as an expert. Or it could be something else. But it has everything to do with comparing myself and others. And the last kind is the emotional jobs. And emotional jobs are very important because they set the tone on customers, or I should say people's decisions. So feeling secured or being conscious of something or feeling beloved by someone are definitely emotional jobs. And the definition of an emotional job is everything of a job between me and myself. So you now have a bit of an understanding of the different types of jobs to be done that customers or people have. Now we're going to look at an example. So remember Jack? Right, our guy from Minnesota. Let's look at the jobs to be done that Jack had just before Southwest started to put their value proposition in place. So at this point, they were observing, right? They were asking questions, they were looking, and they were observing. So what we're seeing here is that see my children whenever I want, right? And then decide and fly without planning much. And then spend a minimum of time at the airport. Now let me ask you, spending a minimum of time at the airport, what kind of a job is it? Functional, social, or emotional? Right, functional. Very good. See my children whenever I want. What kind of a job is it? Yeah, it has a bit of the functional and emotional job. You're right. So, to be independent in booking and handling flight, and then fly as much as I want, and then see countries that I've always dreamed of visiting, and fly without connections. All right? Now, the common thing about these jobs, they all start with a verb, as we said earlier. Some of them are more functional, some of them are leaning towards emotional. So customer jobs are very important. And to get to that, we have to ask ourselves, remember Patrick in this situation where the Meisters are retiring? What are his most important jobs at this point in time? So what I'd like now is to ask you to list all of those jobs that your customer persona has in the situation that you mentioned earlier. What are they? Write every job on a separate yellow note and stick them on the canvas in the right spot. You have 5 minutes to do that, and then we're going to self-check what you did. I'll see you then.